Good day everyone. In the last video we spoke about data types. In this video we would touch more on data types and we'll focus on the data type called undefined. So undefined, as implied, is a type of data that is not defined yet. That's an undefined variable or an undefined data. So let's go ahead and create a new file. Let's save it as undefined.js. Now, if we declare variables, for example, we declare variable age and we set it equal to 24, and we go ahead and print that to the screen, it prints out 24 to the screen. But another way we can declare variables is just by declaring the variable without giving it a value. So if we go ahead and do this, and now we try to console.log the variable, which is age, as implied, we have not defined the variable age, we've not set it to anything. So if we go ahead and run node undefined.js, we can see that it prints out undefined to the screen. So undefined can be for any value. You can have undefined for example, you can even set age to an object, and you can come back ahead to say to reinitialize age to undefined. No, you would not use the var keyword when you are giving it a new value. You can just go ahead to say age is equal to undefined. So you can set a value to undefined, and what that does is it takes off the value that was given to age and makes the value undefined. So it sort of deletes the value of the variable. So if we go ahead and run this again, we can see that okay, we are not consoling.log. So if we remove this and we console.log our age to the screen, age is currently an empty object, but because it's an object, if you run node undefined.js, it just shows you that it's an object. It just does not have some values in it yet, so it's an empty object. But you can go ahead and reinitialize age to undefined. You can set age to the value undefined, and when you go ahead and run that now, you'll see that now age has taken the value of undefined. Now you can do that with functions also. We can create a function do something, and let's say we have an argument for our function, or let's just leave it like this first. If we go ahead and console.log the do something function, and we run this, we can see that it still gives us undefined. The reason being that we are consoling.log do something which does not actually have a return value. So if we were to give it a return value like a string yes, and we go ahead and run that, we can see that it displays yes because now it has a return value. But if we take it off, it gives us undefined because there was no return value declared. Now same way with, for example, we have an argument over here, we have an argument age over here. If we go ahead and say return age, or let's just say return age, then we now try to console.log age at this point. Console.log do something at this point. Do something returns age. If we go ahead and run this, it's still going to give us undefined. Why? Reason being that we have declared a function do something that receives the age parameter, age argument, and we did not pass the argument into our function when we were calling it. So if we were to give do something 1 over here, then we can get 1 to the screen. So that's the use of undefined. You can use undefined to delete what you have initialized to your variables, and there are a lot of stuff you can do. I think you can do something like var name is equal to, or you just declare var name and you can try to console.log the type of that name. Type of name. If you go ahead and run this, let's see what that gives us. So you see it prints out undefined to the screen because name has not been defined and we are trying to get the type of name. So it gives us undefined. There will be a lot of use cases for undefined. You'll be seeing it a lot of times when you are coding and you see try to get value of undefined blah blah blah. So you just know that undefined are variables that have not been declared yet. Let's go ahead and learn about something called variable scopes. So to do that, let's create another new file. Let's create a new file. Let's save that as scopes.js. Now, what are variable scopes? I'll say in simple terms, the scope of a variable is the lifetime of the variable in the program. So we work with blocks of code, like we work with functions and we work with our main block of code. So you have to know where variables can be declared, used, modified. You have to know where in the entire program that your variables can be declared. Now let's go ahead and just declare a variable called name. Name is equal to David. For example, name is equal to David. So if we go ahead and save this and we come down here to create a function name is equal to function name, actually function get name, the name of our function will be get name, and it receives an argument. It receives an argument name. So if you move down here and you use console.log name, if you come here and you console.log name, then you go down here to call the get name function get name function, you get undefined. So console.log name undefined. Meanwhile, we've declared name to David here. What this shows you is that inside a function, he expects his own name and he cannot use the one up here. So for a function expects his own first before he can use the one inside the block of code. So if you want to now use this one, you call it when you are calling the function, you can now use name. Then now if you save this and you run this, get name, now we have an error. Okay, did we save that first? Still undefined. So actually what happened was that we were running the undefined.js rather than running our scopes.js. So those are some of the errors you will notice. So if we go ahead here to get name and we run the right script that we are supposed to run, node scopes.js. I don't think I've saved my file, so I have to save that, and we run that, then we can see that it prints out David to the screen. But if we just get name, we just go ahead and call the get name function, without giving it a name, we still get undefined because name is undefined in as much as we have given name here. So for a function, inside this function, let's say you can say name is equal to Kazim, then you can now go ahead to console.log name. Now you can get name and you can give it a value of Albert, for example. And if you go ahead and run node scopes.js, you can see that we declared name, we gave it the value of Albert, we changed it inside our function to Kazim, then we were able to print out Kazim to the screen. So variable scopes just tell you where and where you can manipulate the data of a variable inside a program. So for functions, you can manipulate any variable you declare at function level only inside the function. You would not be able to manipulate it outside the function. But for this function here, I'm coming. Let me try something. If we go ahead and remove the variable name, we run this, you can see that any variable we declare in our file, we can still go ahead and modify that inside our function. So variable declared at inside the file can be manipulated inside functions, inside if statements, inside loops and all of those, but it cannot be manipulated. But variables created at function level cannot be manipulated outside the functions. So that's how variable scopes work. Thank you and see you in the next video.